start, I want to give two sets of people a lot of credit. Our crowd, it reminded me of the old days. I told Matt Ishby, who was sitting there, I told Antonio, John Garvalia, there was a bunch of guys back, and I thought our crowd was phenomenal. It was so good to see, and it's been a while. And so that's one group. And the second group, I give Kyle and his team a lot of credit. I mean, it was a fist fight. We knew it would be a 12, 15-round fight. And, I thought we had close to a knockout there at the 10-minute mark. We're up 16. And, for all the credit I got for doing things well down the stretch of Kentucky, I should get some blame for not handling that stuff very well down the stretch today, because we did not execute very well. We took some bad shots. We did some reaching. But all in all, when I look at this week, it's the most memorable week in my whole career. To play Friday, Tuesday, Friday, and the way we had to do it, and the teams we had to play, and the preparation in three different teams. I was very impressed on film with Villanova and in person. I told my team before the game it'll be the toughest team we play all year as far as physically tough, and they were every bit of that. So on a positive note, after I thought taking some poor shots early, I thought we had a lot of guys that did play well. Joey was phenomenal early, and then we just didn't go to him enough. And that was a problem tonight. And the problem was because they switched 5 guys. So in 2 days we had to come up with some things. You very seldom deal with that. They switched their guards onto centers. They switched their centers onto guards, and they're all 6'4" to 6'7.5", and they're tough. I mean, that is a very well coached, very good team. And I'd like to give some credit to Jay Wright, because the culture of that program is so good that even though I thought Kyle did a hell of a job, remember, I think 4 of those guys played in the Final Four last year, and some of them are 6th-year guys and 5th-year. They've been in that program. And, that's what I'm trying to do here, so that the program, turn it over to another coach someday, the program continues and the culture continues. And I was really, really impressed with that. But for us, Tyson Walker really wanted the ball at the end and came through. AJ made some big plays with 13 points, 10 assists, and only 3 turnovers. Having Malik in foul trouble and having him out of there was a problem. And then Jaden got going, and then he got hurt a little bit. I don't know if a knee or ankle. And Pierre was struggling early, and to his credit and to the team's credit, they rallied him at halftime. I thought he did a hell of a job the second half. And, Marty, like I said, he struggled tonight. But Marty has faced 3 different kinds of center: a 6'9" brute that is really good in Kentucky, a 6'10" guy that's really skilled in Timmy, and then tonight, this kid he's a special player, Dixon. I mean, he can beat you with a 3. He's improved his 3-point shooting. So Marty had his hands full, and I'm not sure we covered it all as good as we should have, and that'll fall on us. But to go through those 3 days, or 3 games in those 7 days, we'll go down. I told my team, not Magic Johnson, not Mateen Cleaves, not Steve Smith, not Denzel Valentine. Nobody's been through 3 games like that. West Coast here, 3 different kinds of teams of that caliber. And I'm really proud. Disappointed that we 16-point lead with 9-10 minutes left and have to do what we did at the end, but really proud of what they were like the whole week. Questions?
Tom, you had, I think, 5 guys come out and hit threes in that first half, and when AJ's hitting like that, I mean, what is this offense like when you have so many guys that are shooting threats out there on the floor?
Well, I felt good about some of them. I thought we took some bad shots. I mean, we took some forced, quick shots, and you can't do that when Hauser's so hot, and you got to get him the ball. And we just kind of, I don't know. I mean, it looks selfish. I don't think it's selfish. I don't think my guys have it, but it's not really thinking the game. And we took shots with nobody under the basket, and yet AJ settled in. Malik hit some nice ones. Joey hit some nice ones. Tyson hit some nice ones. Pierre hit a big one. So we did do a better job, and we got going. And if you're making threes, it helps. I mean, we shot 52% from the three. I do think we're a better shooting team, but maybe our key guy was Hauser, and he really didn't get many shots. He only got 7 shots. So, yeah, it was good, but our defense was still what won us the game, and that was the only other issue in the second half. I thought they drove us. I think we got a little tired when Jaden was out and Malik was out. We just didn't have the defenders out there because I think it was AJ and Tyson had to play a lot of minutes against teams that those guards are physical and big, boy.
Tom, first, with Jaden, was anything you worried that's serious with him, or is it just not in terms of what you know?
I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think so. I'm not worried about it.
Those 3 guards for you, I think got 16 rebounds. You talked about the collective rebounds of those guys and what it does to the break and everything like that. Can you sort of speak to how those 3 together, just, I don't know, what they can be for you?
Well, that might have been what AJ did best. We said our point guards got a rebound because we knew our bigs are going to have their hands full just trying to cut those guys out. And AJ going up and getting some of those, and he went up and got some of them. Jaden went up and got a couple. Pierre went up and got one big one. So those things were all positives for us, and we're going to have to be a gang rebound team. We're just not that big. And, Marty got a couple. He got 3. I thought Joey did a pretty good job the second half. He got a little tired, too. So, we just don't have our rotation down yet, or maybe it was fatigue from the trip and all the things we're going through. But I still think this team has a long way to go, but I think this team is going to get better, too. I mean, there's so many things we can get better at. That's exciting. Yeah, it's really exciting.
You talked about AJ's rebounding. He was 2 shy of the first triple-double a Michigan State player's had since 2015, I believe. Can you speak to the all-around nature of his game, and do you think he'll get one here before his time's up?
Yeah, I think he will. I think he's really learning that, rebounding is a very important part. And for him, even though he's a point guard, he can go in and get him from the top because usually people aren't getting in his way. His guy's usually going back. But to get the 10 assists and the 13 points and, the 10-10-10 would be a nice triple-double for him. I don't know if he can rebound like that all the time. But he went against, they're not a great rebounding team, but, God, they have length and size and strength. Not big length like Kentucky, but that 6'5" to 6'8" guys that built like Adonis, So, yeah, I was really pleased with AJ, and yes, I do think he'll get one.
You mentioned about the defense, but the perimeter defense in particular, you guys were kind of swarming on them and out and challenging a lot of things, particularly Marty at the end. But when you are hitting, how critical is it to do that on the other side against a team like that?
Well, I think we're always going to have to win defensively. It's the nature of our culture. That's who we are. It normally should lead into better fast breaks. We were a little disjointed on some of the lineups we had in there, but our defense has to be what really makes a difference. And it's sad because we held them way down for most of that game, and I think they probably hit 7 of the last 8 shots. I don't know. And so they ended up shooting 45, but only 27 from 3, and we did out-rebound them. We did the things you had to do, but, God, I was impressed with them, too. I just – I told Kyle I thought he did a hell of a job, man. And talk about a team that didn't quit. that team didn't quit, and Kyle deserves credit, and I think Jay deserves credit for the culture.
On Tuesday, you guys put on a clinic with some of those out-of-bounds plays to keep that game going into overtime. But tonight, that last one that led to the steal and the three, from your eyes, what went wrong with that one, and why didn't that work?
Good coaching last week, bad coaching today. You know, I should have used my timeout. At the end of the game like that, I could have called it. I should have used it. Joey never makes that mistake, though. He always calls timeout. We had him left. So, like a good head coach, I'll blame the player this much, but I will take 90% of that blame. I told the official I might use the timeout. I had him right there. And I was just surprised because Joey doesn't usually do that. But we did hit a couple of big out-of-bounds plays, too. You know, that one Tyson hit late was really big, and we were executing those really well. We executed everything. We haven't been pressed a lot. So that'll be another thing, you know, another new part of our regime. We go to play Alabama, we'll probably get pressed half the game. So we're getting a little bit of everything and everybody. And we only got 2 days prep. God, it was difficult because that switching five is very, very hard to run anything against. And not many teams have 6'7", 6'8" guys that can guard point guards like those two guys can, and that makes it really, really efficient. And I think very smart on their part. We actually did a decent job of them backing us down on the dribble, except for Dixon, and I don't know if God could cover him at times, you know. We didn't want to double because we didn't want to give up a three, so that was a little tough.
Tom, you mentioned Tyson sort of asking for the ball there, he's taken over late in a couple straight games. I'm wondering what conversations he's had with you, and when you think back to the guy he was when he got here versus who he is now.
Yeah,
you
big
kind of
difference.
Put those, yeah, can you kind of
Big
describe-
difference, you know. He was kind of shy, kind of quiet, kind of, you know, and I did talk to him 2 days ago. I said, you got to get more aggressive. And he said, my dad told me the same thing. I said, well, then we're on the same page. So, you know, at the end, he did want the ball. He was even a little ticked off about it, which for me in my huddles, I applaud that. I like that, you know. He kind of challenged me and everybody else, and that's very encouraging for me. But, you know, we got a lot of things we got to get better at because, you know, we could have lost that game. Of course, I've had a lot of games that we could have won and we lost. So I guess this one we could have lost and we won. But we did not. We knew the whole time it was going to be a dogfight. I told every one of you that throughout the week. We also knew that we're going to have to beat them. They're not going to beat themselves. And so it was fun. It was like a Purdue-Michigan State game of the Cleves era. You know, it was get the shoulder pads on and get the boxing gloves out, and I love the way they play. They play hard as hell. Huh? Nahara, yeah.
What changed from Villanova in the final 8 minutes to cut your lead down?
Well, I thought they got a little more aggressive. They got the ball inside. They drove it a little bit more. I thought we defensively got tired. Didn't have the best lineups in there at times. We had a couple guys playing with 4 fouls, so you're a little more tentative. And the combination of they hit a couple shots, and, you know, Marty, you know, there was times he was supposed to step up. I mean, you know, we all made some mistakes. Coaches, players, we all made some mistakes. But I think we made some mistakes, but I thought Villanova did a hell of a job, too. They went at us. They got the ball into Dixon. And, man, he was tough in there. And, I mean, I like, you know, a lot of their players, but, I mean, Dixon and Slater are really good, but Daniels is really, really good, too. And they're all 4th, 5th, 6th-year guys. And as Jay always said, it's fun to get old. It's fun to watch them get old. It's not fun to play against them getting old.
Time you talk about closing the week, this big week with the win and getting the win, but I'm just curious of that fine line late, as well as AJ was playing. We saw 3 turnovers late. I think there were 5 total in the last 5-6 minutes. Just, I mean, is it just kind of that continued evolution of, especially him, of making the smart play?
Yeah.
And
I mean, that DHO on the side away from my bench takes it right to the sideline. That was ridiculous, you know. he is getting better, but he does do those things. And if he's going to help lead this team, we can't afford that. It's frustrating, but there is I said it in pregame, so I'll tell you. I love the way Wisconsin did it a couple years ago with Trice. One turnover, he was out. Second half, he got 20 against us and beat us. I said there's going to be consequences to turnovers now. If that means I'm taking your game away from you, so be it. And yet, depending what time of game it is, my hands are tied too. But you're gonna see some guys coming out of games for turnovers. I promise you.
If Kyle called you tomorrow for advice the rest of the way, he's roughly the same age that you were when you took over for Judd, also kind of handpicked some similarities there. Just what advice would you give him?
I told him before the game, I said, hey, win, lose, or draw, next week, give me a buzz. I talked to Jay Wright yesterday. I talked to him today a little bit. And I said, I went through what you're going through, and give me a call and I'll try to tell you what I went through. As the game was ending, I was saying to myself, who in the hell am I to tell him something? He did a better job than I did. So, I think that program's in good hands, and they're going to be fine. Tough loss to Temple. Not that Temple's not a good team, but a tough loss to Temple, a game that they led most of the way. And I think that's what you're seeing in college basketball right now. And I've never seen so many different upsets and things. And that's what makes this week so special to me. We could have won 3, probably played good enough to win all 3, to be very honest with you, because we played good enough tonight. That's encouraging. But, boy, when you play this kind of competition, your margin for error is 0. And ours is 0 to start with. So it's 0 against average teams, and it's really 0 against really, really good teams.
I know you talked about it a little bit, but could you comment on Aiken's performance tonight? 9 points off the bench, one of which being that.
Yeah, I thought early, he hits that big 3, lets the game come to him, and then I thought he forced a little bit and talked to him at halftime about it, to be honest with you. Second half, I thought he was playing great. Defensively, everything. We need him defensively. He's our one athlete that's above level, not Jason Richardson, but he's in that discussion. And he was really playing well. When he went out, how much time was left? There was about 10 minutes, right? Didn't he go out about the 10-minute mark? So maybe that had a lot to do with it, because I thought he did some really good things and made some good plays, and yet he's not back yet. Don't kid yourself. 9 weeks off. He's in his second week back, and he's played against Gonzaga, Kentucky, and Villanova, and that's not fair to anybody, It's really not. And so he probably didn't do as good a job as some things I like, shot selection and this and that. He probably did an unbelievable job when I think of what he's trying to do without the practicing for the 9 weeks that he practiced. Jaden's going to be fine. He's going to be a special player before he's done here. I really believe that.
Two final ones, Jack and Sean.
Tom, up 1 at the end. Tyson got hit. Looked like he was having trouble getting some feeling in his hands. He stepped to the line. Were you concerned about that? And then when he made 1 and you're up 2, playing defense there, are you thinking no threes?
Yeah, we were going to call timeout if he made the second one, and I wasn't feeling anything but his arm. We're not in load management at Michigan State. A guy gets a bump, and so be it. And so that wasn't even in the thought process, Jack. But doesn't miss many free throws either, so that was sad that he missed that one. And if he would I have fouled? Keeping teams on edge so they don't know. I am not telling you what I would do as I grow in my age and kind of change a little bit, get back to our out-of-bounds plays being special, get back to some things. Will I now foul at the end or rely on my defense? Tune in next week.
Tom, you mentioned the Cleves era Purdue State game, the guards crashing, the glass, the the physicality. I think there's a sense, and I know it's just 3 games in, but there's a sense that this is your kind of team, a classic kind of team, and I think a lot of folks are enjoying that part of it. Do you feel that? Are you tapped into that
I do.
at all? And
I do.
are you enjoying it?
I am. Couldn't you tell the last 5 minutes? No, I am enjoying them. They play hard. We're a pretty tough team for not being physically the kind of teams that the Cleveses and Antonios and Andres and those guys were, but we do play hard, and you know, they work hard. You know, it just, tonight was a big night because I want to see if they handle a little success too now, you know. And we had trouble with my early teams handling success, and we had trouble handling failure, and I'm just trying to keep it all in this perspective and realize what these guys have been through this last 7, 8 days. And I'm not a very good guy making excuses for them, but the reality of it is they're giving me everything they got. You know, they really are. And when I get a strict rotation, as Pierre gets better, Jaden gets back on track, we don't have to play AJ and Tyson so much. And we got to get Jackson in there a little bit more, but we can also, because Pierre's playing better, we can play Pierre at the 4-3-2. We can move him all around. And I think we'll be able to sub a little bit better and get into some kind of rotation, you know. And I say that, and now we're about to play 3 games in 4 days and fly back and get back 5, 6 in the morning on Monday and leave Tuesday for Notre Dame on Wednesday. So we got to get through this next week, you know, next 10 days. But it's, you know, I'm not sure many people thought we'd be 3-1 or whatever. What are we? 3-1 going into Portland, and especially the way we were, because we've played some very good minutes of basketball, but we have played some minutes of not so good. I did think we'd be a better shooting team, and that's starting to happen a little bit. It is a tougher team. It is a together team. Yeah, I love my team. I said that in the summer. I said it in the fall. But I don't like when everybody else loves them, because then they all tell them how good they are, and then I gotta, what did my buddy Saban call it? Rat poison, I guess it is. And I was concerned about that. I said, how are we going to handle a little success? And I thought we did a decent job. I really do. I think fatigue played a little bit of a part. Some of that was foul trouble on Malik. Some of it was Jaden being out. But it gave Pierre a chance to, you know, he showed that he's going to be able to do some things. We'll get him more involved now, and we're ready to go. So you guys that don't come with us, have a good Thanksgiving. Tomorrow we're off, and the rule was there's no basketball tomorrow. The balls are locked up. The gym's locked up. I got a little recruiting to do in the morning, and then I'm going to do my favorite thing, my double favorite thing. I'm going to go to a football game when it's 20 below zero, and it'll be just like the frozen tundra of the Packer Lambeau Field. I'm going to feel at home, and I'm going to enjoy the whole game. So you guys have a good Thanksgiving, those of you that aren't.